What is going on YouTube? Morning, everybody. Football is back. It is a nice September morning. A little muggy here in Northeast Ohio this morning, but not too bad. Sorry for the late start. I spilled a drink, knocked my camera over, and everything went crazy 3 minutes before I was supposed to go live. So that's how my morning's going so far. For those watching on demand later, welcome. Sorry you guys missed the live stream. But this morning we are going to do our normal little week that was in the wonderful world of sports cards. Got a couple news items to talk about, a couple market things to talk about. Mostly going to touch on basketball and football today, and a few other little news bits and see what chat's up to and all that good stuff. So let's start out with a few little news bits. First one, and this one's kind of big. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but PSA, due to card saver shortages, is now taking top loaders. The national nightmare is now over of people not being able to find. I mean, you still can't find card savers, but the demand to find card savers will hopefully lessen, as card savers are what PSA and most grading companies typically required. I will still be sending in card savers, but I have a decent stockpile of card savers. I stocked up prior to this. And top loaders, I guess, aren't exactly the easiest thing to find right now either. So, but a nice reprieve from PSA for card savers. And if anyone ever wonders, because I do see this question a lot, the reason why they like card savers so much, and I have the camera kind of small. Let me make this bigger really quick. Card savers compared to a top loader. So essentially what they do is, on the top loader, you have to physically take the card out to grade it. And you got to do the whole like knock it on your hand thing to get it out, all that kind of crap. The card savers, and I don't know this 100% for sure, but the speculation is that they just cut them out. So they just either take a pair of scissors or a blade or whatever, and they just cut right along each side, and then the card comes right out. So it's less likely that the card gets damaged. That's why the grading companies all prefer card savers to top loaders. Typically, obviously some thicker point cards and stuff you can't use card savers for. They will not fit, but so nice little thing by PSA. And I don't think that they straight rejected submissions beforehand if you submitted in top loaders, but it was always strongly suggested to submit in top loaders or in card savers. And myself personally, I always make sure that I set in card savers, because the last thing I want to do is piss the guy off grading my cards. Any little thing I can do to make that guy's life better, I'm going to do. Next thing up, also on a PSA related news front that'll hopefully make things a little bit smoother with submissions. And I did not have, I haven't done a submission since this started, and I think it just started like the last 2 days. And I couldn't find a good screenshot of it. There was one floating around Facebook, but I couldn't find the post anymore. So if anyone's ever submitted to PSA, it's kind of a clumsy system where you write the service level on the outside of your packaging. Let me make this camera a little smaller again. Whoops. You write like express service or economy service or whatever you're using. And I don't know about you guys, but I've forgotten to do that plenty of times, where I'm in line at the post office and I'm like, can I get a Sharpie? And you can see here in their current step process on step 6, you can see on this little box here, they have express service written on the side. What they've actually done is they have a barcode labeling system now that when you print your submission forms, you print this barcode out and attach it to the outside of the package, and it scans in. And supposedly, once they receive your package from the post office and they scan it, you're going to get an email saying, hey, we got your package. Versus now, you have to dig around on their website and type in your tracking number from whoever you shipped from, and it'll pull up and say, like, your package has arrived safely and all that stuff. So just a nice little convenience thing there. I hope more companies go to that, as these guys all seem to copy each other to some degree. So those were the two little newsy bits things I wanted to kind of talk about, both PSA related. Hopefully both make the submission process a little bit nicer. Next step, Mosaic football dropped this week. Hobby boxes specifically dropped yesterday. They came out on Panini's website for $6.50. They sold out in under 10 minutes, most likely. Or not most likely, they did sell out in about 10 minutes. I was not trying to purchase one, but I was following along on Discord. And then they hit local hobby shops yesterday as well. The going rate, as you can see here, I have 130 point pulled up, seems to be about $750 a box, give or take. I've seen people get them for around 700, depending on your LCS, upwards of 800, but the going rate seems to be around 750. So anything 750 or less, it is what it is. It's cheaper than NBA, but it is, from what I can remember, still fairly expensive for an NFL hobby product. I'm going to be very curious to see what like Prism and Optic hobby boxes go for if Mosaic's coming out the gate at 750. Oh, nice, Justin. So you have done a PSA submission with the new process. It seems like it would be way better. Justin in chat is saying that he has experience with the new labeling system. So, but yeah, Mosaic retail has not hit yet. The speculation is that Mosaic retail is going to come out in the next week or two. In my opinion, and this is based off Mosaic NBA, I think the retail is a better rip than the hobby. The only thing you're really getting out of hobby is 2 autos per box and stained glass. There's some other exclusive hobby inserts like Swagger and Stairmasters and some other stuff. The only one that matters is stained glass. As we're going to see here in a minute, the stained glasses do pretty well, especially the Mahomes. But retail, and I don't know this for sure, I haven't checked Cardboard Connections, but I assume, and I don't know why they wouldn't because it was extremely popular in NBA, that retail is going to have the retail exclusive Genesis parallel. If you guys are not familiar with that, that's what this, I have one sitting here. This Tatum is a Genesis. They're extremely short print. They're not numbered. The rumored print run is between 200 and 300. Nobody knows for sure. It's one of those deals, but they are absolutely gorgeous and they are retail exclusives. I opened about 300 to 400 boxes of Mosaic Blasters, and I think I pulled, plus some cello packs, I pulled probably about a dozen Genesis cards total, give or take. So they're probably case hits, maybe a little more frequent than case hits, maybe 2 per case, give or take. But they sell for a lot, at least in the NBA. Even vets, rookies are astronomical. The Zion, I think in NBA was like an $8,000 or $9,000 card at one point. The John Morant went for like $5K graded. They are big cards. They are really nice looking cards, but you cannot pull those out of hobby. You only get the stained glass out of hobby. If I was going to spend money, I think I would spend it on retail, depending on what retail is going to be on the secondary market, because odds are you're not going to be able to find retail in stores. I expect this football retail market to be just as crazy as the NBA market has been in regards to trying to find stuff. There are already a lot of things circulating. I've seen a lot of pictures on Facebook, and I've experienced this in some stores that I don't necessarily frequent, but I stop in like every couple months if I'm in the area. Walmart's specifically seem to be, not all of them, but some of them have eliminated their card sections over the last month or so. I saw pictures online where a card section in a Walmart, not one that I go to, but a couple of them on Facebook, was completely replaced by candy. There's just no more sports cards. And someone said that they talked to the manager at that store and he said they were done dealing with it. So they just took them out. They just took the section out. They told MJ Holdings, we want them gone. And that was everything: sports cards, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, all that stuff just gone. Because they were sick of dealing with people lining up and harassing the vendors and all that stuff. So people are going to go just as crazy for Mosaic football retail. Mosaic was extremely popular NBA product, extremely popular. I don't see that changing for NBA. And then let's talk about how the single market is going for Mosaic right now. So I have market movers pulled up here. And we can see a lot of red, which is normal for this. Because what happens is these cards just came out on Friday. People post them immediately, and the prices right after a product releases are the highest, and then they immediately start to drop, level out, and then actually form their true price. So this is pretty normal for this. I'm not surprised to see this red. Sorry about that, guys. Just 1 second. So I'm not concerned about seeing all this red. This is 100% normal, absolutely normal. And not everything from Mosaics and Market Movers, but they loaded all the popular stuff. And what I have this sorted by right now is number of sales. And we can see Joe Burrow's number 1. That is not that surprising. And this is just raw base stuff. I will tell you right now, if you ripped Mosaic hobby boxes over the weekend, I would not wait to grade this stuff. If I opened a Joe Burrow base raw today, and I'm not planning on ripping Mosaic hobby boxes, but if I was, I would sell that immediately. I would not wait to send it in for grading. I would not hold it. There is a decent chance this is the most expensive that card ever is. That's because 1, it's a brand new product that just got ripped. 2, we have no idea if Joe Burrow is going to be any good. Most people think he's going to be good. If that's the case, maybe this goes higher, but I just don't see base Mosaic raw holding this kind of price. If we look at the NBA market, which typically carries a better price than the football market does, Zion Mosaic base goes for about $50 right now, give or take. I don't think Bro justifies a $100 price tag on a raw Mosaic. Prism, maybe. Prism's the flagship product. But this is the first real football release of the season, so people are chomping at the bit on it. I mean, Donruss paper came out, Score paper came out. Those just aren't premium products. And Mosaic, until recently, wasn't considered a premium product, but now it is right up there with Optic and Prism. It's not as popular as Prism. I still personally have it under Optic, but it is right there with Optic in that third slot of the retail releases. Other thing about Mosaic, if you guys aren't familiar with it from NBA, if you just collect football and you don't dabble in basketball, they are extremely tough grades. They're surface nightmares. They are nicked up, they get scratched, they get scuffed. So grading a Mosaic card is no sure thing. I've opened plenty of the NBA product, and it is a nightmare sometimes. So keep that in mind as well. I would sell this stuff raw, and I would sell it relatively immediately. The only thing I might hold the grade is if I pulled like one of the silvers or silver mosaics or parallels or something, maybe something like that I would, but I would still just consider selling that raw immediately. I'm going to use the recent SGC reveal video I did as an example. I submitted 10 Mosaic cards to SGC back in May. They were all mostly LeBron with that Tatum mixed into the bunch. 8 of the 10, even in SGC 10 slabs, are selling for the same or less than what the raw version of that card was selling for when I pulled it. And I pulled it right when Mosaic released because the prices were inflated because it was a new product. Then they dipped down and leveled off. A new leveled off value was a lot lower than the current raw value was then. By getting it in an SGC 10 slab, or even a PSA 10 slab, even if I pulled PSA 10s on some of the stuff, it brought it back up to the value that it was when I opened it raw back in May because the prices were high because it was a brand new product. So grading, yes, you could absolutely way boost your value on some stuff, but it's not a guaranteed for everything. Don't be afraid to sell stuff raw, especially when it's a new product like this. Like I said, I think these prices are extremely inflated because it is the first real NFL retail release. NFL season starting this week. Mosaic was very popular from basketball. And I just don't think these prices hold at all. So I would not hesitate to sell this stuff as I opened it for sure. You can see Burrow's the number 1 card, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is number 2 at $60. I'd be selling these for sure all day long at $50 to $60 for Clyde Edwards-Helaire base Mosaic raw. I would be dumping them immediately. I would not be holding on to them. I would not be sending them the grade. Tua at 60, probably the same thing. CD Lamb at 30, absolutely. Justin Herbert at 35. This guy's not even going to. Same with Jordan Love. All these quarterbacks, other than Burrow and Tua, aren't going to start anytime soon unless there's a crazy injury today. So their prices are going to come way down once these guys don't start, once these guys aren't playing. So if we sort this list by highest price, we see the stained glasses all at the top, which makes sense. The stained glasses are extremely popular, and we could see Mahomes at 1,000. I see this. If I pulled a stained glass, I would absolutely send it in for grading if it looked good. Stained glasses hold value extremely well. And they're all established players. You have Mahomes, you have Brady, you have Lamar, Russell, Aaron Rodgers. They're not all in here. They just put some of the popular ones in here. But if I pulled any one of those, I would probably send that in the PSA or BGS or SGC, whoever you like to use, to get those graded. So that's all I have for the football stuff today. Let's sneak into basketball. This is one someone asked about in chat prior to the stream starting, and I'm not going to lie, I'm slightly baffled by this one. And I forget who it was, so I'm sorry, and I had to refresh the browser, so I don't have the history up. Someone asked, what is going on with Anthony Davis's prices? So I pulled up his PSA 10 Prism rookie. And you can see it has come down a ton. It is all the way down to about $1,600, which is the price that it was basically back in mid-July. It peaked up at almost 4K and has come all the way back down to 1,600. Now, the entire market basically peaked here. If I pull up pretty much any single card, regardless of sport, almost the entire card market peaked at early August. Then the entire card market basically slid backwards, talking in generalities. There's still some cards that were definitely going up, but for the most part, the card market was sliding back anywhere from 10 to 20% from those early August numbers. Now, what caused that? Probably a bunch of different things. The market was slightly overinflated. The NBA season was starting to wind down. Teams were getting eliminated. Unemployment bonuses and government handouts stopped. No more stimulus checks coming. Economy starting to set in, like the realities of the new world that we live in. people locking in the profits that they made early on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think it was a multitude of reasons that all hit at the same time. I don't think you can attribute it all to one thing. You had the NBA protests that happened around then, but this affected all three sports, even soccer. So four sports. So I don't think it could be attributed all to that. And I think that as a reason for the market pulling back is generally overblown to begin with. Um, but regardless, the entire market slid back from the beginning of August. So I would expect some of it was due to that. Two, for a while, the Lakers were not looking quite as good as what everyone thought they were going to look. They struggled against the Blazers for a couple of games, and they ended up putting them away no problem. They lost the first game to the Rockets, then they just completely destroyed the Rockets. But I feel like this card's trended down a lot more than what I thought that it would. And I don't know if people just aren't expecting them to make the finals because I don't think they're going to get past the Clippers. I know the Clippers are still locked in a battle with the Nuggets. We don't really know what's going to happen with that yet. I fully expect them to win one out of the next two, but anything can happen. And I think the Clippers are going to give them a run for their money. So it's no sure thing. So I don't know if people were just like had bought in. Remember, if you bought in on the run up to the NBA bubble, which a lot of people did, they were buying in April, May, June, July, and you got this card for, $1,400 or less. When it got up to around $3,000 to $4,000, a lot of people are going to say, hey, I tripled up on this. I'm getting out now while the getting's good. And then a couple people start doing that, and next thing you know, a little sell-off happens. Once again, with everything else going on, it could have been a combination of probably about 6 different things that caused a sell-off to happen. That being said, I feel like this has fallen way too far, all the way back down to 1,600. I'm surprised it didn't maybe it got a slight bump here when they officially put the Rockets away, but this feels really low to me, especially if you think they can win the NBA title. Now, if you don't think they can win the NBA title, I wouldn't touch it because it might spike back up a little bit and then it's going to go right back down again. But this one is a little baffling to me. I feel like this card fell harder. This card fell as hard as some of the people that got just straight eliminated from the playoffs, and they're still playing. So when we look at the next one here, let me move the order of these around. So let's talk about Tatum. Tatum stuff was also trending down. Let me blow this chart out a little further. So you can see, once again, stuff peaked in that mid-August area. And then Tatum started coming down because they were in that dogfight series with the Raptors. Plus, this stuff was naturally coming down because of the market pullback. And then we see this was game 7 against the Raptors. They won. And now his stuff is shooting back up again. He's up over the last 7 days. I think it was about 20%. Yeah, 22%. He's up to almost $900 again. This card at its peak was about 11 or 1200. I could easily see it getting back to that point if they start winning games against the Heat. I think this Heat Celtics series is anyone's ball game. Both teams are extremely good. I could easily see it going 7. They're both scrappy. They're both tough. They're both deep. I have no idea who's going to come out of this series. I have some Tatum stuff. I am probably, unless they come out and just like crank out 2 straight wins, and it looks like they're a pretty good shot for the finals. This Tatum stuff that I want to sell, I am going to start looking to sell it now during this little reprieve before and during the early days of the next series, just in case they don't make it out. I would rather lock some profits in now than, they start off 0-2, 0-3 or something, which I don't think will happen. And next thing you know is the market's crashed from underneath him, because unless you want to hold Tatum until the next playoffs, this is probably his peak value for the next year. It's just the way that it is. He's going to take a beating when they lose, unless they win the whole thing. His prices are going to fall down. Then they'll slowly rise back up again. And then I expect his peak new value, assuming he plays well next season, to be right before and during the early rounds of the playoffs next year. That's mostly when these prices peak. So if you're fine holding the card for an entire year, that's great. Stash it away. And I do believe Tatum's a good long-term hold. But I'm going to look to sell off a chunk of my Tatum stuff. I don't have a ton, but some of the stuff that I do have, I'm going to look to move off a little bit of it, and then I'm probably going to keep a couple key cards for long term. But I want to lock in some of these all-time highs on these prices now while they're there. So that's Tatum once again. So Tatum's getting the spike because they won, but Davis isn't really seeing that. I don't know if this is because the price point's higher or what, but this AD one really baffles me. Giannis. Giannis. How the mighty have fallen. His prices have been a whirlwind. You could see this last week or so. He is down another 10%, all the way down to about 3,500. It appears that, and we will see if this holds long term. When his prices, so he's been on this downtrend since, once again, that early August date. So he was trending down. He bottomed out at about 3,400, spiked back up to 4K. And now he's coming back down again to that 3,500 mark. I assume he's probably going to spike back up again, and we are going to continue to see this trend. Because at a certain point, people have a price where they want to buy in. The big time investors that are sitting on tons of money, they probably have a thought process of, when this card hits $3,500, I'm buying it until it hits, till it goes back up to 4, and then I'm stopping or whatever. So there's probably going to be some of this where it shoots back up and then dips back down again, and this up, down, up, down, up, down. And each time maybe it goes slightly lower before it spikes back up again, and the spikes back up again aren't quite as high until eventually it semi-levels out. We've seen the same thing with Zion. This is Zion in Josh chart. And you could see, this is over the last 14 days. You could see Zion's been doing the same thing. He was around 650, dips down to around high 500s, dips back up again to around 6, dips back down again, dips back up again, and is now dipping back down again. This is the furthest that he's fallen down to 550 since he's kind of leveled out. So I assume at some point soon here, he's going to start ticking back up towards that $600 mark again as people begin to buy up once it reaches these certain price points. And you can see Ja is basically doing the same thing on this pink line. 480 down to 440, up to 490, down to 450, up again, down again, and then starting to level out again. And I assume that Ja's going to keep doing the same thing, where it's these little dips and ups, dips and ups, dips and ups, with a very slight downward trend overall. You can see these two trend lines, that's the dotted line, are slowly dipping down before they slowly start to pick back up again. So once again, I believe that this is completely normal for the off season. These guys have been eliminated for almost a month now. So they are now finally, as we've talked about the last couple of weeks, are getting more to that level out standpoint. So over the last 14 days, you could see that Zion's down about 14%, Ja's down about 10%, but they keep fluctuating depending on it. I can pull this chart up every day, and some days it's green, some days it's red. It depends on if they're on that little downswing or the little upswing to bring them back. And then the last one I want to talk about is Luka. And then we'll see if what is going on over in chat. If chat has any questions on anything random or any topics they would like to talk about this morning, you guys can hit me with those in chat. Otherwise, we will get out of here. I know it's football Sunday morning. People have lineups to set. I set some DFS lineups before starting this show, and then I'm going to set some more. I set FanDuel before the show. I'm going to set DK after the show. I need to check some season-long leagues and stuff. So, Luka PSA 10 prices continue to drop, and you can see he's starting to do the same thing. He gets down to a certain point, which is about 1,200. He shoots back up again, shoots back down again, And I have a feeling this is going to keep continuing. This is a 7-day chart. Overall, he's down about 10% over the last 7. He is not quite leveled out yet, though I think Luka's prices are going to level out around that $1,200 point. Maybe a little bit lower. I don't see him getting to 1,000, and I don't see him getting below 1,000 on his PSA 10 Prism. I see Luka's prices holding right around that $1,200 mark with dips. Like I said, maybe it dips down to 1,100 and then shoots back up to 12, so on and so forth, like we saw with Giannis, like we saw with Zion and Ja, where there's these little spikes down and then they spike back up again, back and forth. Is now the time? Yes. Justin, yes, for sure. In fact, my last 2 videos, if you go check them out, are NBA offseason targets. I have part 1 and a part 2. Part 3 will be out early next week. This is the time that you should be buying the guys that are long out. And I'm talking about the teams that never made the NBA bubble to begin with. So guys from the Cavs, the Bulls, those sorts of guys. And I went over about 10 guys so far that I'm looking at. And the reason why you want to buy now is because it gives you time to grade them. The individual single prices, I'll give you an example. We'll use Kevin Porter Jr. His Prism prices on base raw. In the examples that I give, I specifically used base raw just to make things easier, but you could use any variation that you wanted to. I just wanted to make the entry point cheap for people. And I actually got a stack of them right here because I'm looking to send them off to PSA 10 or to PSA to hopefully get 10s. These go for about $5 or $10 a piece. Okay. It's a pretty low price point. I don't see them getting much lower. Maybe they do. Maybe they dip down and you can easily get them for $5 a piece as opposed to 10. They fluctuate between now and the start of the season. But the difference is if you wait till November to buy or even October to buy, you're not going to be able to get them graded and back in time before the start of next season. And my entire point of buying these types of guys now is to get them now, send them to whoever you want to send them to get graded and get them back. And then you can hold some, but the goal would be to sell in the lead up to next season or right at the start of next season. Because what's going to happen is everyone stops playing, so no one's doing anything bad. So everyone's prices are going to slowly start to rise again. Then the season's going to start. Some guys are going to play good and their prices are going to keep going up. Some of these guys, reality is going to set in and they're not going to play good and their prices are going to go down. So say like right here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 Kevin Porter Jr.'s. Now I need to look at these. I don't know that these are all going to go. This is my pile to review. Say I sent all 6 of them and say I am extremely lucky and all 6 come back PSA 10s. I would look to sell off maybe half of them right as the season's starting next year to lock in the profits and then hold the rest and be a little riskier with those. I love KPJ. Next season can start and he could be garbage. Who the hell knows? But I went through about 10 guys in those 2 videos, and I probably have at least another 2 videos worth of guys I want to talk about, at least one for sure. But the key to buying now is to grade them. By buying now, it gives you the time to grade them. And also, these prices are going to slowly start to tick back up. So you might as well have those prices tick up while they're sitting at grading and then get them back right before the season starts. So anyone else listing high buy it now is on eBay for football to get ahead today? I like Midnight. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I would definitely, if you have NFL players listed, especially semi-trendy guys, I would either pull them down or jack the prices up. Because if one of these dudes goes off today, like say you have, I love AJ Brown and he's trendy, or DK Metcalf, also extremely popular and trendy. If those guys put up big games today, People are going to buy him like crazy. Clyde Edwards-Helaire stuff was going nuts on Thursday. Now, part of that is due to limited inventory. But I absolutely would not leave an NFL card, especially of a young, trendy guy, on eBay or wherever with a buy it now at the current market prices on these NFL Sundays. If these guys go off, their prices are going to go nuts, at least for the day. I would prefer to keep this stuff off eBay, wait for them to go nuts, and then list it. Or at least jack the price up at minimum. Do not leave this stuff sitting out there priced at current market prices. You're going to get burned. And don't be the guy that cancels the sell. If someone buys your AJ Brown Prism for $20 today after he puts up 3 touchdowns because you're an idiot and left it up there for buy it now, don't be the douchebag that cancels the sale. It's your fault for leaving it up there at that price. Eat it. Send the card. So see what else is going on in chat. Yeah, Prism is king. In basketball and football, not in baseball, but basketball and football, Prism is king. Corbin, I love the My House inserts, especially the hollows and the variations. In fact, I just got these 2 back recently. My House, LeBron and Luca, both optic silvers or hollows. They are really nice looking cards, regardless of what type of slab you have them in. But I really like that My House is. I don't know that they hold like crazy long-term value, but I think they're going to be one of the more popular insert sets, especially the ones with the rookies like the Zion and the Ja. I have a Tatum silver raw that I did not send in the B graded. I will probably look to sell this in the next week or so. This is one of the ones in the Tatum stuff that I wouldn't mind selling. The Luca I am planning on holding. The LeBron I would actually like to sell, but I do like the My House inserts. Yeah, I mean, I would overprice them for buy it nows on eBay for sure. For anyone that you have listed, if you want to pull the listing, I get it, but I would at least jack that price up, just in case. Today should be a big Star Stock day. I'm going to be very curious. I'm going to keep a close eye on Star Stock. That sucks if you set cards and then they didn't get posted yet. I'm going to be very closely following Star Stock today to see. I'm the general belief with Star Stock. I do like to speculate if I can find good deals. It's really tough to find good deals on there. I did get an AJ Brown. I was perusing Star Stock this morning. I could not find a lot of stuff I was willing to jump. Star Stock, the pricing's a little different because of the A grades. So there's a little bit of a premium on it. So it's hard to wrap your head around at first. I picked up an AJ Brown Select for like $6.99, which felt cheap to me compared to what his other stuff was selling for. And I picked up a couple Michael Gallups before, but I don't have a lot of football inventory on Star Stock. I prefer what I did good with in the NBA was when a guy was starting to have a big game, go and buy it and then repost it for a few bucks more, and grind it out a profit that way. That's how I personally did it. Now, if you could find good deals on some of these guys, I did have, I bought some Odell Beckham Juniors for like 25 or $30 on there. There's not that many on there. I bought out the inventory of them for under $30 each and then relisted them for about $50 each and then sold them all within like a week. This was leading up to the season. But there's just not a lot of good deals on there right now. Now, when one of these guys starts to go crazy, that's a different story. But Star Stock, you really have to like be sitting there and ready to act, and it can burn you. I got burned on Brandon Ingram cards during the first game of the NBA bubble, where I went and bought some Ingram stuff because he was balling out in the first half. I sold some of them, but not all of them. Then he had a bad second half, and then the team fell apart the next couple of games, and I got stuck with him. I ended up selling him at a huge loss. And it wasn't like hundreds of dollars or anything. I'm talking like I bought him for $30 and had to end up selling him for 5, so I lost 25 on him, and I didn't want to hold him long term, so I just moved them. But overall, I am up. Deposited $25 on Star Stock, and I am up over 125 in cash plus some cards in inventory right now in about a month or 2 months. And I haven't been like on it every single day. I hop on a couple times a week and try to swing some stuff. So, but I do like I think Star Stock. I like Star Stock a lot. Star Stock is really cool. So, what else is going on in chat today? Yeah, I haven't done the whole sending stuff in to Star Stock yet. Cleveland, get that Pittsburgh BS out of here, Robert. Do you not see the mat down on the corner on the camera? I guess I can make that a little bigger. I always forget how small I have that. Get the frickin' Steelers stuff. Are you kidding me? Ban you from chat if I knew how to do it. For even suggesting such a thing. But nah, it's all good, Robert. It's all good. It's all good. Black and gold nonsense. I'm a little worried about the Browns today. I do like Baker. I have quite a bit of Baker stuff and quite a bit of Odell stuff. I think they may start a little slow just because of the new coach coming in and all that stuff, with them not being able to practice or have preseason games under the new system, and them getting the Ravens right out the gate, and then they have a quick turnaround Thursday night game. It is against the Bungles, but so we'll see what happens there. He does indeed. Yeah, I worry Baker could struggle a little bit. So, I'm gonna begin to wrap things up here. Unless chat, you guys have any other topics or questions you want to talk about, feel free to throw them out there. But it's almost 11 o'clock, and I know that's when most of the big pregame shows and everything starts. But if you guys have anything else, I'll give you guys a minute to get that. And if you're in chat, smash the like button. I always forget to talk about the YouTube crap. But hit the like button, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I try to get about 2 to 3 videos out a week, and I try to go live every Sunday morning for this little weekly chat at the same 10 a.m. time. I've hit it for about the last 5 or 6 weeks in a row, and I'd like to keep doing it, assuming that we get good chat going, because I carry the first half of the show, and I like chat to carry the second half of the show. But I realize I'm not sure how it's going to do doing it on Sunday mornings, competing against football pregame shows. So I think this 10 to 11 a.m. hour may be the sweet spot to not get in people's way of setting lineups and all that crap. So let's see. What do we got here? As a new collector investor, I'm curious, why are jersey cards usually lower in value? People just don't seem to care about the jersey cards unless you're PCing a player. I don't necessarily know why that is, just the way the market is. They want the true rookie card and not the jersey card, unless it's an RPA, which is rookie patch auto, and only out of certain products. In a lot of cases, you'll see really nice RPAs out of like Spectra and Select and stuff like that sell for less than like a Prism PSA 10 base rookie will of a guy. I don't know if it's just because they're just not as known, you just don't see them as much, or what, but for some reason the market just does not like straight patch cards. And the one thing about the patch cards is in a lot of cases you're getting a monocolor piece of cloth that wasn't even game worn. It was worn during a photo shoot for 35 seconds, and then Panini takes it and cuts it up. So I think it's partially because of that. The higher end products, it's a little different because they get really sick looking patches, like National Treasures and Flawless and Immaculate. And like Flawless is game used typically. That's one of the last sets to drop. Um, so I think it's just there's a few different factors like that that have to do with that. I do like Trey Young. I would prefer to buy Trey Young and grade him myself right now than buy a PSA 10 Prism. Trey Young was in one of my last videos, and I specifically talked about buying his Optic Raw and grading it. I get buying graded if that's your thing, and I don't blame you. I buy tons of graded. But when it comes to NBA product right now, you have 3 months, where at least 3 months. We don't know when next season's going to start, where nothing's going to happen. So this is a good time to buy raw and grade. Um, Prism's pretty easy to tell centering on. Surfaces can be a little tricky, but if you're willing to go through the grading experience, I would buy raw and send in, because once again, we're in the off season essentially for the NBA, so why not? Uh, I do not follow baseball as closely. Larams, he's asking about, for people watching on demand later, he's asking about Pete Alonso rookies. I think they probably continue to go lower because he has not played well at all. I would look at picking him up in the offseason and selling on the hype before next season. I do, and I know that this is breaking tradition, so pure baseball guys are going to freak out. I do like going for the chrome stuff over the paper stuff, but that's just me coming from a basketball background. I primarily focus on basketball, dabble in football and baseball, but a lot of the things roll over. And the basketball market seems to be influencing the baseball market in regards to chrome pricing picking up a lot this season. When do I think the best time to sell Zion is? Not right now. This is the worst time to sell Zion. You should not be selling Zion right now unless you need the money. Zion, it comes down to if you believe in him or not. If you don't believe in him, you probably should have sold already. If you aren't sure yet, I definitely would not sell a Zion card unless you need the money until right before next season starts. Once next season starts, then it's anyone's ball game. If you think he's going to play well, his stuff will keep going up. If you think that he is a bust, once next season starts, he will bust, and then his prices will start coming back down again. So it just depends. What I am personally going to do with Zion, I sold some stuff in the lead up to the bubble. I had some unfortunate timing on getting things back from grading, that they came right as the prices were falling. I am holding those Zion cards until right before next season starts, and I will look to sell most of it. The way I am approaching Zion is I am selling about 70% of the Zion that I own or acquire and holding about 25 to 30% of it. That way I am locking in good money on some Zion stuff, on most of my Zion stuff, especially compared to what I started into it for. And then I'll hold a couple cards just in case he is the truth and the next big thing. I don't necessarily know that he is, but we'll find out. So. I don't know that I 100% believe PSA grading super super tough right now, Grande. I see stuff on the boards where one guy's results are 90% gem rates and the next guy's are 10% gem rates. I honestly think a lot of that is overblown by people just not looking their cards over very well before they get sent in. Um, I'll be curious. I have two PSA submissions out right now. Both of them are about 15, 16 cards. One is due back in about a month. One is due back in about 2 months. I will be curious how those go. I have not done a lot of PSA submissions yet. The first one that I did was an express order with 3 Zion cards. 2 out of the 3 of those hit PSA 10s. So we'll see. I think I look my cards over pretty closely. I know most people say SGC grade's pretty tough. My last SGC order, I didn't get anything lower than a 9.5 on 10 cards. My order before that was about 16 cards. I got one card back under a 9.5. So I think it just depends on how close you look at your cards and how picky you are about what's sending in. So I do not think Giannis is going to stay in Milwaukee. I think he will for this season. I don't think he's going to. You're going to know within the next couple weeks. Giannis is going to get offered the rookie extension, or his max extension. Whether he accepts it or not will tell you what he's going to do. If he accepts it, then he's obviously staying. If he rejects it, to either A, get out of there, or B, put pressure on Milwaukee to majorly upgrade the roster, Milwaukee's going to be in a tough situation. Because he would be in a walk year and you would either have to ride it out with him or try to trade him like AD. So we're going to know really quickly here. I personally do not believe he stays in Milwaukee, but that's just a gut. That could be me with my own personal experiences from LeBron. He seems like LeBron 2.0 in regards to their early career. His early career stuff with the Bucks is very similar to the Cavs. Dominate the regular season, win MVPs, and flame out before making the finals. And then LeBron obviously left, kind of learned how to win or whatever in Miami, ripped off, those rings, came back, won one here, and now is on the Lakers and had all the success here. I don't necessarily see Giannis leaving and going back to the Bucks, but I see Giannis leaving and then finding success. I think them letting Brogdon go was one of the worst decisions they could have made. Not necessarily because of Brogdon's talent, but them showing that they're willing to put a winning team around Giannis, and Giannis having faith in the organization to spend money. And that's what these superstars want to see. So I think he's gone, personally. I don't know that Luka's 100% bottomed out yet. Someone's asking about Luka in chat, being willing to buy. I think anything under $1,200 to $1,000 is a buy if you're in the market to buy, specifically talking his base PSA 10 Prism. I don't think it goes anywhere close to under $1,000. I'd give it another week, keep an eye on prices, see how the dips keep going. Does it keep trending down? But don't try to get too cute and buy at the absolute bottom. If it's a price you're comfortable at, grab it. It's Luka. His stuff is going to go back up again. The Mavs are going to be so buzzy before next season starts. His prices are going to shoot right back up again in the lead up. So, Colin Sexton, I am not necessarily a believer. I think he is an all stats guy. He plays no defense. I don't think he's a winning player per se. And there's a good chance that that they draft another guard. But I don't think Colin Sexton's like the second coming of anybody or anything crazy. I think he's a fine guard. He'll give you 20 a night with these pretty empty stats. I think his perfect role is like a Lou Williams style guy. Like on a winning team, I think that's what his role is. Sixth man off the bench to come in and score a bunch of points. But his defense is atrocious. And that's coming from someone that watches every single Cavs game. Let's finish up chat real quick here, and then I'm going to go ahead and close down the live to get everyone off to their Sunday morning football shenanigans. I am personally worried about the Durant injury. No one's ever come back from an Achilles before. So I do worry a little bit about that. I know Durant's like a freak of nature or whatever, but Durant would be another one that if you're into Durant now, myself personally, I try to be risk averse. I would sell Durant in the lead up to this upcoming season. Durant's prices are trending up. I think they continue to trend up the lead up to next season. I personally would sell Durant prior to the season starting. Now Durant's an all-time player, so I would get tucking away some of his rookie cards forever. He's guaranteed lock Hall of Fame already. But if I had like a large position on Durant, especially Durant and Nets jersey stuff, I would look to sell that stuff for sure during the lead up. But I do worry about Durant not being Durant anymore. Maybe he is. We've just never seen it. No one's ever come back from this injury before and looked normal. So we'll see. Maybe he's the first. He is a freak, but we will see what happens. Australia, nice. The land down under. That's awesome. Yeah, but Kobe wasn't the same when he came back from the injury. And neither was Rudy Gay. Like, I get that they came back. There's coming back, and then there's coming back to your previous form. I do like Bam. I like all the Heat guys. I like Bam. I like Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, all those dudes. Definitely like Bammer. My boy Step Back. I don't know if he's still in here. He was in here earlier. He has a podcast. He's big on Bam too. Big men are hard though on value. They don't get a ton of value. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here to get some lunch and get these DFS lineups set and get ready. So, you guys have a good Sunday. Good luck in your NFL stuff today. If you're a fantasy player, either DFS or season long. If you're not on Star Stock, go check it out. I think it's definitely worth checking out. Smash the like button, click subscribe, all the YouTube nonsense. Hit the dislike button twice, all that crap. And we will catch you guys on the next video. Next video will be part 3 of NBA offseason targets. It'll probably be out. I think I'll do that one Tuesday, most likely. Tuesday or Wednesday. But that'll be the next video. NBA offseason targets part 3. If you guys missed the first 2 parts of that series, go check it out. But other than that, you guys have a good Sunday. We will catch you guys on the next video, and peace.